brothers and sisters. Today I will talk and present you ROLEX GMT-MASTER II, aka or nicknamed the Coke. And this watch is new for me, but I got the watch for a friend, so not mine, but this is it in my collection for a short time period, so I decided to take a short video about it. And this version of the GMT-MASTER II was produced since or from 1989 to 2007, if I remember well. And this one is from 2001, so this is not a really vintage piece, not a too old piece, but not young, definitely not young, because this is 20 years old now, so we can call it an older watch, an older Rolex, even though if you check the watch, it has got really modern feelings. Of course it's different like the new GMT-MASTER II, but this is not too far from them. And this exact Coke with the black and red bezel was lastly changed or updated in 2003, if I remember well, but only the dial changed, and they have stopped the production of the Coke in 2007 with nearly the same pieces like this one. So this nearly the exact looking piece where and when the production, so the manufacturing of the Coke bezel GMT-MASTER II was stopped. And the Rolex hasn't updated or relaunched the Coke line, the black and red bezel, yet, and maybe they simply won't do it. And the reason is, who knows, maybe a secret, or maybe a fact what shows us in the past the Coke bezel wasn't that popular than the Pepsi and the Batman, so the blue and red and the black and blue bezel versions. But who knows, maybe next year Rolex will relaunch it. Who knows what Rolex will do. But this piece from 2001 is in extremely great and good condition, if you ask me. You can see even the green sticker, what is nowadays disappeared from the Rolex, new Rolex models, but even the green sticker is there on the watch, and there are very, very small, barely seeable scratches on the whole watch. And if you check the brushed parts of the bracelets, I guess it will never be brushed and maybe just slightly polished in the past, because you can see the edges nicely on the case side. So if this watch ever was polished, then it was done by a watchmaker or a watch polisher who was really a master of his works. So this is it, this is the watch. At the end I will show you a lume picture of the watch, because it has got steel, so no matter 20 years old, but it still has got super strong lume. But of course this is not radioactive painting, so this is lume paintings on it without any radioactive material. And here we have got the 3 time zone possible to see. We have got the second, the minute and the hour hands. We have got the GMT hand, the so-called GMT hand for the 3rd time zone. And we have got, of course, the Cyclops size with the big date window. Only thing what is strange a bit for me is the clasp, because the bracelet feels like nearly the newer or the new oyster bracelet. Of course not the same, but feels like close. But the clasp feels cheap. So this secure closing part feels like it don't really have material inside. And also this clasp looks cheap and feels cheap compared to the newer versions, of course, because if we check the watches from 2001, this is of course a great quality compared to them. And these marks on the clasps also strange for me, but that was the Rolex way. This is the style of 2001 and the style of that era. And also I miss the glide lock system or any quick change system, but you can adjust the bracelet size with these little holes on the clasps. This is also gives me a little bit cheap feeling, but all above this watch is great. We can rotate the bezel on both sides, and it really has got some nice sound effect. As you can hear. So this is not a diving bezel, not unidirectional, but it feels really great to operate. We have got here the holes on the case and the lugs, so not the modern style. I don't really like this solution, but I can live with it. And I just like the look of the watch, and this is easy to operate. The crown is screwed in, of course. We can wind the movement, of course. And it has got this quick date and quick hour hand changing feature like the modern GMT-Masters II, working perfectly. And of course, if you move the minute hand, then the GMT hand will rotate too. So this just works, and of course this is working in backward. So if you see the date changing, if we rotate the hour hand backward, then you will change the date changing backward, then it can be changed forward. So working like exactly in the newer versions. And of course you can screw back the crown. The lugs are slim and nice. The chrome guards are nice for the eyes, nice looking, but operate the crown, because it's very small, feels like a little bit strange compared to the newer versions. Because if you compare it to the newer version, and accidentally I have got here a GMT-Master II from 2020, what is so-called Pepsi with the ceramic bezel. Watches looks a bit different, but not that much different. But what is strange or funny, both pieces, hard to show it without any reflections, so both pieces are 40mm wide at the case in diameter, but the Pepsi, the modern Pepsi, looks bigger. Even it has got the Jubilee bracelet, and the reason, I guess, is because the ceramic bezel is wider, the marks on the dial are bigger, and if you look it closer, the lugs are fatter on the new Pepsi, very much more fatter, wider, bigger than the Coke has got. And of course that crown and the crown guards are way much bigger on the Pepsi than the Coke has got or had got 20 years ago. So this is the difference. For me, the modern newer look maybe looks cooler. We can say it's much more modern, but the older version looks really nice and beautiful. And with this, I don't know if Rolex will ever continue the Pepsi. That would be cool and nice, and I am sure it would be a big success, and there would be waiting list for 6 or 5 years if you don't have any connections to an authorized dealer. But also if they don't, simply never will continue the Coke, that means two things. The older version's price will go higher and higher. Of course, if they would relaunch the Coke, the older version's price also would go higher and higher. This is the Rolex way and the Rolex kind of game. But if they simply not continue this piece, getting an older one is a good idea, if you ask me. So I will show you a wrist check. To present you how does it look on the wrist, because yeah, it feels like a little bit smaller than the actual versions of the GMT-MASTER II, but this is cool. Only the clasp wasn't so good. This is it. Very nice, if you ask me. I have got a 21 centimeter wrist, and maybe I would need an additional link, because I can wear it but not as comfortable I used to wear, but I like to wear the watches in a loose way. But from a 20 years old watch, this look, this style, this operation is super cool. So this is why Rolex is Rolex. Special Rolex DNA. Maybe don't has got 200 or more years old history, but Absolute has this continuous DNA and strong traditional style. Now you see the 20 years old watch still has got a super strong lume, even in this not so dark situation. And one more thing, if you see, the lume is green. If you check the newer version, I hope the camera will record it correctly, but in real life this lume is blue. And maybe the older version is somehow brighter, or just this is because of the green color. But we can say that they are definitely strong. And what is cool, after 20 years the Rolex lume is still super strong. So this is why Rolex is Rolex, and thank you for watching, and see you later.